Don't shoot! We're just trying to take our son out of this hostile environment.
Their son?
Maybe they're one of those gay couples.
Yeah, we're gay, and this is our adopted love child. We're not from around here. Don't make us go back to our liberal city home with tales of prejudice and bigotry from in the heart of Utah.
Oh, God, this is the last thing I need. Bunch of uppity homosexuals shooting their mouths off to the liberal media that the Federal Wildlife Marshal Office persecutes gays.
Are you fucking crazy? Now, they may be gay, but that's not their son, that's the ape.
I think I would recognize an ape if I saw one, okay? And the only thing I do recognize right now is a political fiasco here that I'm about to avoid by letting this butt-fucking Brady Bunch go.
Ugh.
You are free to leave, sirs. Yes, you, sirs.
So we can just go?
Yes, sir. Please accept my apologies for detaining you and your unorthodox but constitutionally protected family unit.
Unfucking believable.
I might add that's one fine-looking boy you're raising there.
Hell yeah, that's because he's from my sperm. See, I knocked up this hot woman friend of ours who I fuck on the side, so not to be all the way gay, but my tubby husband here, he's 100% queer. He loves the cock.
Well, he certainly looks insatiable. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
What is up, YouTube, and welcome back to Tactical Newbie, the channel where a newbie like me gets into all things tactical. With the funny movie introductions out of the way per usual, like we always do, let's get right into today's video. Today's video, I am going to be bringing back the low budget loadout and low budget update segment of videos. For those of you not familiar with the low budget loadout / low budget update segment of videos, it's essentially where I provide to you, the viewer, a 360-degree review of a specific loadout that I built out, provide price points and a full overview and kind of a general, review of the specific loadout that I'll be featuring on this specific segment. Most of the low budget loadouts that I do feature on the channel are usually followed upon by the previous video, which is a budget build of some variety. Most of these loadouts have a budget build, basically 1 through 3, that's kind of shown the evolution and growth of a specific loadout that I then feature on the low budget loadout or low budget update. For those of you not at least want a little bit of the differential, the difference between the low budget loadout versus a low budget update video is essentially the low budget loadout is the mainstay first feature of a specific loadout of the budget variety, while a low budget update segment of videos is the continuation of that and kind of showing some of the evolutions and the changes of a specific loadout that I've already featured on the channel. So if it says low budget loadout, it is a new budget build, and if it's a low budget update, it is a continuation of an existing budget build that I've already featured on the channel. But with all the rambling out of the way, let's get right into today's video. Today's video, I will be highlighting a low budget loadout for the Krydex JPC 2.0, which essentially is a clone copy of the Crye Precision JPC 2.0 and its corresponding battle belt, which essentially is a knockoff of the Ronin Tactics Senchi belt that I essentially got most of the components either off of Amazon and or AliExpress. So with all the highlight of both of these specific components, both the plate carrier and the battle belt, again, what I'll be providing to you is a 360-degree review of both of them, highlighting price points and everything in between. So that way, if you're interested to adding any of these components in addition to your already existing loadout, you'll at least have a general metric of where to go, and obviously at least a general price point of what you'll be looking at paying for. Keep in mind that obviously these price points were at the point of when I bought them within a certain extent, and you always got to take into consideration with obviously price changes with inflation and price changes with tariffs and anything of that nature. But with all the rambling out of the way, because this will be a long video within itself, I will see you guys on the other side, and enjoy. Alrighty guys, and away we go. So this is the Krydex JPC 2.0, which essentially is a direct knockoff of the Crye Precision JPC 2.0. Retail price is $69.95 for the Ranger Green, the Black, or the Coyote Brown, obviously plus tax and tariffs. And then you're looking at essentially $79.95 for basically the Camo Black or the Camo. Just want to provide a 360-degree kind of roundabout view of the actual plate carrier in its entirety. I will, of course, at specific points of the video, break down some of the features of the Krydex JPC within itself, and also, of course, touch on price points for some of the other components along the way. But all things considered, it's a pretty decent plate carrier within itself across the board. But from here, we will take a look at the Crye knockoff shoulder pads. Retail price for these shoulder pads are $15.98. They are essentially a knockoff of the Crye Precision R Series shoulder pad set that you can get from Crye Precision. All around, the quality is pretty good comparatively, all things considered. Obviously, how well these shoulder pads at least hold up in longevity in the interim or with repeated use and obviously abuse will be obviously the clear determination of how these things last collectively. Eventually down the line, with a lot of the components that you're going to see featured on the Krydex JPC, I am going to do tactical comparison segment videos for the at least clone knockoff copies of a lot of this predominant Crye Precision gear. So keep that in mind moving forward, that you will see actually a direct cross comparison for a lot of this gear. But from here, we'll take a look at the excellent Elite Spanker Tactical Molly 6 Mag Placard. Retail price is $26.59, as you saw by the screenshot. This all around collectively is a pretty decent placard system. I believe it's almost a direct knockoff of the first Spear M4 Triple placard, which essentially is kind of the Gucci analogous of it. Just to kind of give you a vague price comparison, the M4 Triple is like $106 versus the excellent Elite Spanker is $26.59. This will also be another featurette that I will kind of be able to highlight in the foreseeable future and do a tactical comparison segment of the first Spear M4 Triple versus the excellent Elite Spanker 6 Mag placard. This, all things considered, this is kind of one of my favorite placards, I think, out of all the low-budget setups that I have featured on the channel thus far. I do like the availability that this placard system is kind of very, very adjustable. For the most part, you can basically, in all retrospects, either hold up to 3 and or 6 mags in these pouch pockets. You can obviously do the overlap tongues if you want to keep everything secured down with the Velcro, but you can also take those tongues and then tuck them down into the back or rear side of the pouch and then run the actual magazine in front of that tongue if you want more of a quick access, quick pull option, at least with the placard system. So it does at least offer quite a bit of just modularity when it comes to actually how you want to run the specific placard system. So I think comparatively, out of all of the different knockoff plate carrier placards that I have featured on the channel, this by far is probably one of my favorites. Quality across the board seems to be pretty top notch, does have some drain holes or ports down at the bottom of each one of the pockets. As I'm kind of explaining some of this stuff, you can see how I'm kind of changing and adjusting the different variables of how you can basically run this placard system. It is a direct Molly placard system, so to the best of my knowledge, if you do have the Velcro overlay, or at least the Velcro accessibility down at the lower part of your plate carrier, you do have to at least have a placard system or a Molly placard system to Molly this pouch onto, which that's the kind of the setup that I have here. I probably said that wrong, but I think most of you guys know what I'm saying for the most part. You got to have the hook and loop Velcro attachment that has the Molly on the front face, and then you can Molly the pouch onto that. Alright, but yeah, from here we'll take a look at the IDOGEAR Tactical Draw Pouch. Retail price is $21.90. Again, also not factoring in tariffs and or obviously any inflationary adjustments or any type of shipping and handling charges, even though I did order most of this stuff from either Amazon or AliExpress. This specific dangler pouch is kind of a cross of at least a kind of not a direct copy, but a semi-direct copy of the Pharaoh Concepts mini dangler. Again, just as a price comparison, the mini dangler is like $52 from Pharaoh versus $21.90 here. But moving over to the side, we will start then by taking a look at the Krydex Mag and or Radio Pouch wings. Retail price for that is $18.95. Again, not factoring any type of additional tariffs and or shipping and handling charges. Essentially, what I wanted to utilize these pouches for were essentially additional pouches, obviously, to hold magazines on both sides of my cummerbund, on the interior side of the cummerbund. Comfortability wise, it's pretty good. I am going to have to do at least some minor to major adjustments on the cummerbund system, so that way at least fits my frame a little bit more comfortably, which you will actually get a look at that when I showcase it on the fit check at the later portion of this video and see how it kind of fits my frame. At least the cummerbund system's a medium, so it does kind of snug down on me a little bit tight, so I will have to find a way to adjust that. But essentially, it does, these mag pouches, going back to the mag pouches, do at least offer the availability to hold 2 more mags, as well as the 6 at the front, which gives me a total of 8. The idea is to hold a total of 12 magazines moving forward. But of course, we'll touch on that on the later part of the video. So this basically from here is the AliExpress version of the AXL Equinox cummerbund. Retail price for that was $44.25. Obviously, again, for the millionth time in a row, not counting any type of shipping and handling charges, and of course any additional tariffs from coming from China. Now, with the radio wing pouch, one thing that I didn't touch on is the radio wing pouch is actually a direct comparison or knockoff of the MBITR radio pouch from Crye Precision. We'll do a tactical comparison of those two pouches at some point down the future. And then, of course, with the at least knockoff of the AXL Equinox cummerbund, I will also do a featurette tactical comparison for that as well. From here, we're just going to take a look at the back side of the JPC for the most part. Like I said, it is a direct knockoff of the Crye Precision JPC, the Krydex is, but essentially it does have all the same essential features across the board for the most part. From here, we'll take a look at the IDOGEAR Tactical Zip-On Pouch. Retail price was $29.90. Obviously, same thing, shipping, handling, tax, tariffs, whatever. This essentially is a direct knockoff of the Crye Precision. Basically rear zippable pouch of the same, at least obviously look. As you can tell, there's a little bit of a trend here that I am definitely just kind of doing a clone, copy, and paste with a lot of the featured, at least items that that are pretty predominant when it comes to Crye Precision. Now, of course, just to give you another price comparison that I will feature more in depth on a tactical comparison video, this specific zip-on panel from Amazon is $29.90, as I did state before, while comparatively the one from Crye Precision, you're looking at about $256.30, which is insane for a zippable back panel. You're basically paying for what you would pay for an entire plate carrier front and back rear plate bags from Crye Precision, essentially, for just a rear back panel. It's just astronomically, insanely expensive, if you ask me. But from here, we'll work our way down to the knockoff variant of the Crye Precision side pull mag pouch. I got that for $18.79. Unfortunately, the link from Amazon is no longer available, but you can get the same similar product from Emerson Gear for like $26.99, I think, roughly. Essentially, the side pull mag pouch is a direct knockoff of, the Crye Precision side pull mag pouch. Essentially allows a drop pouch availability for you to pull side pull your magazines from the side. You can mount this droppable pouch from at least at the front of your plate bag or on the rear side. I decided to run at least this pouch on the rear side of my plate bag, essentially because I do have the dangler at the front. It just offers me the availability for 2 more mags, which at this point, with the 6 at the front and the 2 at the side, at least on the front side of my plate carrier, that had me at 8. This would have me at 10. So now you're looking at about roughly 10 magazines, plus obviously the 1 in the gun, which would be 11 if you count it, for the availability of carrying additional ammo. And that's not even focusing on the SPUD pouch, which then will essentially offer me another 2. But of course, we'll get to that when we roll over, which essentially is going to be right now. But from there, we will take a look at the SPUD pouch. Retail price is $18 $15.99. Got this from Amazon as well. It's essentially a knockoff of the Spiritus Systems SPUD Pouch. In all retrospects, quality overall is pretty good. Elasticity is pretty good. This again allows me the availability to offer up the availability, as I repeated that, to carry 2 more additional mags in the SPUD Pouch, which that's kind of what the SPUD Pouch is known for, just kind of the modularity of being able to carry a radio, being able to carry 2 additional mags, 1 additional mags, and be able to cinch all that stuff down. And then, of course, following in suit, we will have another kind of Spiritus Systems clone, which is a GP Admin pouch. Retail price is $21.90. This essentially is kind of a vague faux knockoff variant of the Spiritus Systems GP wide pouch, which you generally get from Spiritus Systems. It's like $94, $95. So $94.95 roughly, obviously plus tax and any of the other things. But essentially you can see, like, with this entire setup, that I have kind of a mock Crye setup for the most part, with kind of a little bit of at least First Spear and Spiritus and a tiny bit of Pharaoh sprinkled in. But all things considered, that was the full 360-degree run and review of the plate carrier system. Total price for everything is $287.29. Alrighty, now from here we'll mosey on along to the battle belt setup. From here I'll kind of provide the same thing as I did for the plate carrier system. First, give you kind of a 360-degree look at the battle belt setup, at least to what I have it now. Feel free to reflect the budget build. I believe it's an update video of this specific battle belt, where essentially I pulled off most of the major components from a previous belt and then kind of retrofitted and added a couple additional components across the board to kind of evolve or step up the existing belt system to the belt system that you see currently. Again, as I kind of stated, providing a 360-degree review of the belt system. Quality overall is pretty good with the belt collectively. It's a knockoff Ronin Senchi belt, which I'll touch on in a little bit, but essentially it's kind of along the same vein of the knockoff, at least a variety of components that I have featured on the belt. Obviously, you can see there's a trend here in the channel, but from that point, we'll at least kind of mitigate or work our way over to all the essential components on the battle belt. I'll try to do a little bit more of a quicker review for these items, so that way, again, we can kind of mosey along to the fit check portion of the video. But from here, we'll first start by taking a look at the Ronin Senchi knockoff belt. Retail price for that belt is $49.67. Collectively, it is supposed to be a Ronin Senchi knockoff. I myself, to at least this present point, do not have a Ronin Senchi to cross compare, but I do eventually plan on getting one. At least checking at the Ronin Tactics website, it does look like that they're going to be selling out of stock fairly recently. But from here, we'll look at the G-Code knockoff pouches. These are knockoff variants of the G-Code pouches, both in the pistol and in the rifle variety. Retail price for each independent pouch, both of the pistol and of the rifle mag variety, is $15.90. So take that in consideration, that each independent or each individual pouch, for the most part, you're looking at about a $15.90 price stamp for that, which isn't super expensive if you're only looking for, 2 pouches, but collectively that's like $30 for each pair, roughly, give or take. From here, we'll take a look at the knockoff variant of the Flatline Fiberco, at least dump pouch, that's supposed to molly behind a magazine. Retail price for that was $31.76. Essentially, what you're looking at here is a knockoff, as I stated, of the Flatline Fiberco dump pouch that, again, is supposed to be mollyable behind a either pistol or preferably a rifle mag pouch. Kind of limits or kind of breaks down the amount of space available on your, or at least opens up the amount of space available, that's a better word, on your battle belt, so that way you don't have at least some additional space being taken up by a dump pouch if you decide to run one. Allows the availability to drop that dump pouch on the lower portion of a mag, which again is in a better, at least overall accessibility to utilize versus in a different location, in my personal opinion. But from here, we'll work our way to the back side, and we'll take a look at the ODINWOLF, at least, knife. This was a knife that I did kind of feature on one of my very first low-budget videos. Retail price is like $29. Nothing really to ring home about this specific knife. Apparently, it is fairly waterproof. It's supposed to be cross-utilized for both, you know, obviously non-water and or water availability. But then we have at least a knockoff of the T-Rex Arms Med 1. Retail price is $19.95. I will be doing a tactical comparison segment on all of the items that I featured so far of the real, you know, the knockoff versus the real Gucci thing. But from here, moving over to, eventually going to be moving over to the holster, but from here, at least going back to it, we'll highlight the Med 1 pouch. I was actually getting a little bit ahead of myself. The Med 1 pouch, like I said, is a knockoff of the T-Rex Arms Med 1 pouch. Does have the little drop in, at least tab or inlet that you can kind of pull out from the actual pouch within itself. Again, I am going to be doing a tactical comparison video of all of these components to the real Gucci things. Just patience is a virtue. Some of the more expensive Gucci things take a little bit longer to get for me, just because down the line they are a little bit more expensive. Now from here, actually working our way over to the Safariland clone. Retail price is $48.90, I believe. This is a direct knockoff of the Safariland holster for the most part. I did an in-depth tactical comparison video of a bunch of different knockoff holsters in comparison to the Safariland holster that I have available. Also have at least like a drop-down holster adapter that's supposed to be kind of a knockoff of True North Concepts. Retail price for that was like $39.99. Like I said, essentially it is kind of a knockoff variant of the modular holster adapter from True North Concept, the whole metal drop leg adapter that allows you to basically install whatever holster you want in any configuration that you see fit. Eventually, I would like to do a comparison of at least the True North Concepts adapter versus obviously any of the variable, probably cheaper quality overall clones, but keep in mind the True North Concepts variant is like $129 versus like $30 for the Amazon variant. And then from here we'll kind of finish up with at least the glove holder. Retail price is like $10.99, but collectively that's what we're looking at for everything. But all in all, when all things are considered and we're looking at a total calculation, we're looking at a grand total for everything on this battle belt system of roughly about $293.73. Keep in mind that the price points that I am utilizing are as of today's prices, so reflect this most current video if you want to check today's prices based on the video posted versus previous videos that might not allocate either inflation or any other adjustments. But all in all, that was the price at this current point for both systems. Now, essentially, with basically the 360-degree review of both the battle belt and the plate carrier systems and price points highlighted for everything, we can at least mosey on along to the fit check portion of the video, so I can kind of give you a general compilation of overall fit of both the battle belt and the plate carrier system. As I did kind of touch on the early part of the video, the cummerbund system, or the knockoff Equinox cummerbund system, I will have to adjust a little bit to accommodate to my broader shoulders, a broader chest, and lower upper waist area. So there will be some minor to major, at least, adjustments in accordance to my size and frame. For those that aren't aware, I'm roughly about 6'1", 245 to 250 pounds, give or take. So pretty decently big boy, all things considered, which gives you a general gauge and retrospect of what you're looking at based on your size and dimensions. Generally, most of these plate carrier systems, either from Krydex, Amazon, or even AliExpress, generally are fitted for a medium fit 10x12 plate bag setup, just all-rounded, bare, basic, most generally accepted size for most frames or bodies. So take into consideration if you're a little bit of a bigger guy and you're looking to get a at least knockoff clone from either Amazon, AliExpress, or Krydex, that you are going to be looking at kind of a more restrictive size variable or variant, depending on what you're looking for. So if you are in fact a bigger guy, some of the cummerbund system, some of the plate bags, some of the other additional items might fit a little bit smaller on your frame, just in comparison because of the fact that they're generally sized for most average frames. frames of about guys anywhere between 5'8" to 5'11", or 6 foot tops, and anywhere obviously between 160 to 190 plus pounds, give or take. Obviously body dimensions, frame, and stuff like that do vary. But just kind of giving you a flick through of basically how at least the plate carrier again fits on my frame. Keep in mind, I haven't done a shit ton of reps in this specific setup. Obviously, this is kind of the newest build out as what you see fit. I am periodically chipping along at doing kind of a rough, like full-fledged like mobility and exercise test, and just kind of running a lot of these plate carriers down into the ground a little bit to try to see what their almost at least fairly comparable longevity may be in kind of more physical environments than just your standard dry fire. I've been doing like at least a lot of workouts, anywhere between at base minimum 3 times a week, at maximum 5 to 6 times a week with these plate carriers with plates on my frame, to kind of give a mobility, like I said, breakdown, and kind of see how these stitch points and certain points on these more budget build plate carrier systems hold up across the board. So be on the lookout for that for sure, because that is going to be something I'm going to highlight at the later part of 2026 after I've gotten some time. I'm basically allocating about 3 months of extensive workouts, rucking, hiking, jogging, sprinting, calisthenics, boxing, a number of different variables to kind of really wear these things down as I'm kind of putting them through the gamut, so to speak, as well as dry fire and a number of other different variables. But it's not going to be a true metric of testing, but it'll be something to kind of put these things, again, as I stated, through the gamut to see whether or not they actually hold up, obviously by comparison to the ones that are rated to last longer. But yeah, all things considered.
Guys, I hope you liked the video. Of course, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe down below. Let me know what you think of today's low budget update segment of videos, a part of the low budget loadout full segment of videos that I do feature on the channel. I'll keep this outro short and sweet since I already do have a fairly long video within itself, and hopefully most of you guys that have at least watched at this point don't want to continue to ramble on. So with that being said, I do have a Twitter/X. Feel free to hit the link down in the description down below if you'd like to follow me there. I also do have a Patreon link in the description down below as well if you want to contribute any sort of patronage to the Tactical Newbie channel. Keep in mind that all of the components and all of the, at least basically everything on the channel for the most part that I do feature on the channel is completely self-funded by myself and my full-time job. So obviously any sort of contribution or any type of contribution to the Tactical Newbie channel is always much appreciated. But with all the rambling out of the way, and before I stutter on more and more words, I will see you guys next week.